Welcome. Have a nice day. Today is Monday, 2nd of September 2024. From the history point of view, in 1946, the Interim Government of India is formed. The Interim Government of India, also known as the Provisional Government of India, formed on September 2nd, 1946, from the newly elected Constituent Assembly of India, had the task of assisting the transition of the British India to independence. Starting the newspaper analysis, the newspaper The Hindu states that Army firing range in the Ayodhya denotified to avoid clash with the new airport's flight path. The recent move by the Ayodhya Development Authority to denotify the land used for firing practice attracted a sharp responses from several Kavaturs. 10 cantonments also face denotification in order to excise civil areas within its ambit. The Army's field firing range near Ayodhya, falling in the flight path of the under construction airport, has become unsafe for use, Army sources said about the recent denotification of the range. For transferring defense land, there is a temple or equal land or equal value or infrastructure development or another suitable land parcel is undertaken by the government agency acquiring the land. The same process is being followed in the instance of Army land in Ayodhya as well. Sources said the Army is also set to soon get a new high altitude firing range in the eastern sector. Fresh violence in Manipur, 2 killed in a gunfight-prone attack. The residents of the 2 affected villages said the militants dropped bombs using drones during the attack. The state government said the attack was a bid to derail the peace efforts. Such an act of terrorizing the unarmed villagers is viewed very seriously by the state government, it said. Violence returned to Manipur after a 4-month pause, with suspected extremists killing 2 persons and injuring at least 6 others, including 2 police personnel and a television journalist, in a gun and a bomb attack using a high-tech drones on Sunday. Police said the gunfight and bombing began at 2:30 p.m. at a Kotruk and Kadanbang villages in the Meghti-dominated Impal West district, which adjoins the Kuki majority held district of Gangpokki. India Pakistan cannot beat ties in the next decade, says survey. Bangladesh are most optimistic. More than 60% of the Indians and more than half of the Pakistanis surveyed believe the 2 countries cannot have friendly relations in this decade, says a new survey by the Center of the Policy Research. Results of Tri-Nation survey in India, Pakistan and Bangladesh, which reached about 1 lakh respondents, 12,000 of the home completed the survey in total, show concern over Chinese interference and the trust in Russia is highest in the neighborhood, ahead of United States. More than 60% of the Indians and more than half of the Pakistani is surveyed believe the 2 countries cannot have friendly relations in this decade, says a new survey by the Center for Policy Research (CPRC) voter that looks at the attitudes of the Indians, Pakistanis, and Bangladeshis on a number of political, economic, and foreign policy issues. The downturn in ties between India and Pakistan is since 2016, after which no high-level bilateral talks have been held, is clearly mirrored in the mood in the 2 countries, shows the survey, which reached out to about 1 lakh respondents. 12,000 of whom completed the survey in total across the 3 countries. In contrast, previous survey in 2011 and 2013 had indicated a much higher optimism for reconciliation in the subcontinent, with the Aman Ki Rasha Hope for Peace poll in 2011 showing 2/3 of the people surveyed in both countries had felt that peace was attainable in their lifetimes, up 35% since the 2011 survey. The survey was carried out in 2022, the organizers of exercise said, and its results were released last week in Delhi in the report entitled South Asia in Changing World. What citizens in India, Pakistan, and Bangladesh think 75 years past partition? What we have learned in the South Asian are compatible with the several contradictions. While there is still much nostalgia about the partition, they also now believe India and Pakistan cannot be friendly nations, explained CPR's Rahul Verma, who co-authored the report. According to the survey, 48% Indians, but only 31% Pakistanis and 32% Bangladeshis would favor a reversal in the condition created by 1947 partition. However, 62% of the Indians felt it was unlikely and 28% that it was likely that India and Pakistan could become friendly in the near future, while 52% respondents in Pakistan said it was unlikely and 38% said it was likely. Significantly, respondents in the Bangladesh were more positive about the possibility of India-Pakistan ties. With more respondents, there are 45% saying good relations were likely and 40% saying they were unlikely. The survey results came even as External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar conceded at a public event last week that the chances of a dialogue with Pakistan were now bleak. I think the era uninterrupted dialogue with Pakistan is over. Action have consequences, he said, speaking at the release of book Strategic Conundrums, Reshaping India's Foreign Policy by former diplomat Rajiv Shikri in Delhi on Friday, where Dr. Jaishankar defended the Modi government's policy in the neighborhood. Insofar as Jammu and Kashmir is concerned, Article 370 is done, so the issue today is what kind of relationship can be possibly contemplable with Pakistan. Dr. Jaishankar added, warning that India's response to positive or negative events would be reactive rather than passive. All eyes are now on how New Delhi will respond to an invitation from Pakistan for the Shanghai Cooperation Organization heads of the government meet on October 15 to 16, as no Indian minister has traveled to Pakistan in no more than 8 years. Japanese anime director Miyazaki on winning Roman Magsaysay Award. Roman Magsaysay Award Japan's Hayao Miyazaki. Ms. Sitharaman described Mr. Miyazaki as a magician. Japanese anime director Hayao Miyazaki was awarded the Roman Magsaysay Award, popularly known as Asia's Nobel Prize. Ms. Sitharaman described Ms. Miyazaki as a magician. She further went on to say that anime as a genre has much for adults. Mr. Miyazaki also, along with the producer Toshio Suzuki, founded Studio Ghibli in 1985. The studio has left an indelible mark on the world of animation and the storytelling. It was born out of a desire to create animated films that diverged from the typical tropes of the industry at the time. Now, going to the Hindustan Times newspaper stated that protesters erupted and assaults at two hospitals in Bengal. Two separate incidents of alleged molestation in the West Bengal hospitals emerged on Sunday, leading to renewed public outrage aimed protests over the brutal killing of the junior doctor in the capital last month. People protested on the rape and murder of the doctor in Kolkata on Sunday. On Saturday night, a 13-year-old girl and a nurse were reportedly assaulted in a separate incidents at a medical facilities in Howrah and Birbhum districts, police officials said on Sunday. The incidents were reported even as the 100 gathering of protesters in the state capital Kolkata, while the ruling Trinamool Congress and the opposition Bharatiya Janata Party too held their own demonstrations, with each trying to build pressure on the others. Water level in dam steps may hit irrigation power generation. Water levels in the Bakra, Pong and the Ranjit Sagar dams are significantly lower this year compared to the same period last year due to the less rainfall in the catchment areas, the Central Water Commission reported. The water levels in the Ranjit Sagar Reservoir was 1,645 feet on August 31st against 1,707.1 feet last year and 1,713.5 feet in 2022. According to the latest WSC weekly report, Ranjit Sagar Dam in Punjab has recorded a deficiency of 61%. From the normal storage, while Bhakra and Pong reservoirs located in Himachal Pradesh recorded a deficiency of 25% of the normal storage. According to the experts, if the water levels remain low in these reservoirs, it could affect power generation and irrigation. A large part of the region relies on these reservoirs for both agriculture and energy. As the region braces for the Rabi sowing season around mid-November, the low levels in reservoirs poses a challenge for irrigation and power generation, said an expert. The filling season of reservoirs starts from June 1st and extends up to September 20. The target for the filling the Bhakra reservoirs was 1680 feet on August 31st, though such parameters have not been fixed for Pong and Ranjit Sagar reservoirs due to the erratic schedule of water in Bears and other tributaries. The water storage in Pong reservoir allowed by the Bhakra Pias Management Board BBMP is 1390 feet and 1731.5 feet in the Ranjit Sagar Reservoir, said an official familiar with the matter. Satpura Lake to be revived. Algal water remained located next to Kirki village, Crater Kailash, Chirag Dili, and Sakit. The lake believed to be constructed in the 14th century during the region of Muhammad Shah Tughlaq. Muhammad bin Tughlaq is part of the Satpura Monument complex. Sorry. The Delhi Pollution Control Committee (DPCC) has said that it has asked the Delhi Development Authority (DDA) to revive the Satpura Lake in the South Delhi and take several remedial measures, including resume operation of non-functional sewage treatment plant STP next to it. Once restored, DDA will have to share a report on the water quality of STP, it said. DPCC, which carried out an inspection of the lake in May month, said that the water body was found to be highly eutrophic and requires attention. The inspection was carried out following the April month orders of the National Green Tribunal (NGT), which took suo cognizance of a news article that said a sewage water was being pumped into the lake from that blockage drain from the neighboring Kirki village. In its report to NGT, DPCC has said that very little water was found inside the lake, which however was found to be mostly eutrophic, exhibiting high algal bloom due to the nutrients such as nitrogen and phosphorus entering it in a large water quantities. Such water bodies have limited oxygen and thus cannot support aquatic life. Now, going towards the economy of the country from the business point of view, India's Russian oil imports softened in the August month as refinery maintenance season weighs on demand. Oil in market experts expect India's oil imports, including from Russia, to be slightly subdued in September, as well as to maintain shutdowns at a few refineries before recovering again in October as the affected refining capacity come back on stream in the festival season, which is usually marked by the high fuel demand. As the world's third largest consumer of crude oil with a high import dependency level of over 85%, India is extremely sensitive to oil prices. India's crude oil imports from Russia, New Delhi, largest source market for oil, cooled off sequentially in August month from July is near the record levels as the oil demand evidently softened in the run-up to the refinery maintenance season. According to the ship tracking data and industry watchers, relatively lower availability of the Russia oil for the export market was also a likely factor. Oil market experts expect India's oil imports, including from Russia, to be slightly subdued in September, as well as due to the maintenance shutdowns at a few refineries before recovering again in October month as the affected refining capacity comes back on the stream in the festival season, which is usually marked by high fuel demand. With low prices and local flavors, IKEA spices of food businesses in India in last 3 years, food businesses has doubled its contribution to overall revenue. In addition to its core home furnishings businesses, Swedish retail giant IKEA's culinary offerings have emerged as the key ingredient to its growth in India, with its food sales doubling their share of total revenue in the last 3 years. India MSME losing ground as Chinese goods flood market GTRI. The dominance of Chinese imports is displacing local production as over 90% of the umbrellas, artificial flowers, and human hair articles used in the India are sourced from China. India's small businesses are operating in various product categories such as umbrellas, glassware, cutlery, handbags, and cosmetics are facing stiff competition in the domestic market due to the influx of Chinese goods, according to the report by the think tank Global Trade Research Initiative (GTRI) on Sunday. The report also indicated that India's industrial goods imports from China are rising. Going towards the world news, including massive protests erupting in Israel after 6 hostages die in Gaza. Demonstrators demand Gaza heal. Kamala Harris running mate Tim Wallis's brother opposes his candidature may endure Trump. Biden-Harris were not invited to Arlington Cemetery, says White House. Trump takes fourth shot. Iraq to enforce two-day curfew for first census in nearly 3 decades. Far-right party leads to in German state elections. Leftist group emerges strong. French President Macron to meet ex-socialist Saint-Exupéry as a prime minister decision nears. Now going to science and tech, we have WhatsApp working on contact signing feature across accounts input. WhatsApp contact signing feature, if released, will let people differentiate between work and personal contacts. WhatsApp is working on a contact signing feature as a part of the WhatsApp beta for Android 2.424.18.14 update report via Petal Info. WhatsApp is working on a contact sensing feature across the other accounts as a part of the WhatsApp beta for Android 2.24.1.18.14 update report via Beta Info. While WhatsApp users often rely on multiple separate accounts or cloned apps, the company is working on a feature to let users sync these contacts or manage the syncing of their contacts lists gradually. Asian cities are growing up upwards more than outwards, satellite data shows. An aerial view of Gurugram, Haryana. On September 27, 2022, New Delhi, the most expensive central real estate is well protected and leading most of the Tana building coming up in the outskirts, for example in Noida and Gurugram. Experts call a new study is finding an alarm call that should make us wonder whether we should allow more high-rise buildings. Cities around the world, but especially in the Asia, are growing upwards faster than they are spreading outwards. A new study published in the Nature Cities has found in an increasingly urban and urbanizing world, tall buildings can accommodate more people in less space, but they can also negatively affect existing infrastructure, the local environment, and even the climate. At last, there is a famous quotation said by a famous philosopher known as Rabindranath Tagore, whose birth anniversary is 7 May 1861 up to 7 August 1941, was an Indian poet, writer, playwright, composer, philosopher, social reformer, and a painter of the Bengal Renaissance. He reshaped the Bengali literature and music as well as the Indian art with the contextual modernism in the late 19th and early 20th centuries. Author of the profoundly sensitive, fresh, and beautiful poetry of Gitanjali. In 1913, Tagore's poem became the first non-European and the first lyricist to win the Nobel Prize in Literature. Tagore's poetic songs were vivid as spiritual and mercurial, while his elegant prose and the magical poetry were widely popular in the Indian subcontinent. He was a fellow of the Royal Asiatic Society, referred to as the Bard of the Bengal. Tagore was known by the sobriquets Gurudev, Kobi Guru, and Biswa Kobi. Tagore modernized Bengali art by spurning rigid classical forms and resisting linguistic structures. His novel, stories, songs, dance, dramas, and essays spoke to the topics political and personal. Gitanjali, song of Regis Kora, Fairest and Karibari, The Home and the World, are his best known works, and his verse, short stories, and novels are acclaimed or penned for their lyricism, colloquialism, and naturalism and unnatural contemplation. His compositions were chosen by the two nations as the national anthems. India's Janagana Mana and Bangladesh's Amar Sohn Har Bangla. The Sri Lankan national anthem was also inspired by his work. His song Bangar Mati Banglar Chol has been adopted as the state anthem of West Bengal. Rabindranath Tagore says a famous quotation. He says that I slept and dreamed that life was joy. I awoke and saw that life was service. I acted and behold that service was joy. He also says that we read the world wrong and say that it deceives us. Okay, thank you.